Steven Universe and all associated images are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and any and all other respective owners. I don't know them all. All footage in this video has been used for the purpose of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. Well guys, it's time for another theory video, and this time I want to talk a little bit about Peridot. Peridot has become a much more prominent character in the series than she once was, and with the hiatus currently going on, I feel like right now is the perfect time to speculate about the character right now before we learn much more, when we still have mostly circumstantial data to go by. Now, I do want to preface this by saying, and this will be in the description as well if I remember to put it there, that this isn't some kind of Peridot hate video. I really like Peridot as a character, and I do feel like her future with the Crystal Gems has a lot of potential for positive outcomes. This is just what I think is going to happen, at least in the immediate future, based on what we know and what has been speculated about the near future of the series. All of that being said, Peridot is a character who we often forget has been present in the show for almost half of its entire run. True, she hasn't been in all of those episodes, but the threat of her existence, her influence, has been there the entire time, sort of overshadowing everything. Considering how much detail the writers put into the episodes of this show, I'm sure that the presence of Peridot, either as a wild card factor back on Homeworld or later as a rogue on Earth, was silently influencing the actions of the characters. Well, except for Steven, who really didn't understand the danger of Homeworld gems until very recently, and therefore wasn't too afraid or too biased to offer Peridot a hand of friendship. Even now, when he does understand the threat of Homeworld gems, he still isn't too biased to trust her word. Like Rose, Steven sees the best in everything and everyone. And free of what biases Rose might have had herself, Steven is even more accepting of Peridot and literally any Homeworld gem than Rose likely ever would have been again after the war. Based on what we know about Homeworld, it's very possible that Steven has offered Peridot the only genuine, unselfish kindness that she's ever known. And this has been the catalyst for her opening up as a person and facilitating relationships between her and the Crystal Gems, which never would have developed on their own. He's the reason for Peridot's current growth as a person above and beyond anything that she ever would have been back on Homeworld. That's why I titled this video the way I did. That's why I question whether or not Peridot will betray Steven. And of course she wouldn't, would she? Well, unfortunately, I think that at this point, she would. Again, understand that I'm not saying this because I dislike Peridot or think that she's a bad person who isn't worthy of redemption. If anything, I think that she's a victim in more ways than not. I don't think that Steven isn't kind or generous enough to form a genuine, strong bond with Peridot. In fact, I think he's already begun to do so. Her continued acceptance of him is proof of that. I'm also not saying this to stir up drama. This theory is based in fact. All of that being said, let's discuss why I believe all of this to be true and what I think is likely to happen with the character of Peridot in the near future, considering that things go even remotely like we have speculated that they will in the near future of the series. Also, please understand that this assumes that Peridot will be presented with a chance to leave Steven and the Crystal Gems behind and rejoin Homeworld in the relatively near future, in a way that would bring harm to, or fail to prevent harm to, Steven and or the Crystal Gems, which is a development I think is very, very likely. After all, Yellow Diamond is coming in some way or another. She is coming to the show. That's why the rest of this video is going to be looking at the presumed influence that Homeworld has had on Peridot so that we can determine how she might behave in Yellow Diamond's presence. Looking at Peridot in her earliest appearance when she shows up at the Galaxy Warp, she seems bored. She is very reminiscent of an employee doing an uninteresting, unengaging job. However, she still does it and treats it with great importance. This, coupled with the fact that Peridot didn't know of the term Crystal Gem as of Marble Madness, tells us that Homeworld had likely hidden knowledge of the Crystal Gems and the war from the general population. Clearly, Peridot would have been more on guard if she had known there was a possibility that enemies might be on Earth. This isn't the most important thing, however. What's more important is the stark change that occurs in Peridot's behavior between Marble Madness and the Return. In the relatively short time between those episodes, Peridot learns to fear the Crystal Gems and to hate them for betraying Homeworld. And she never gives any more specifics than that. She seems to have been told that the Crystal Gems betrayed Homeworld, but given no details as to why or in what way. and yet she still feels so strongly about it. Even when Jasper expresses the importance of Rose's continued existence, as Jasper at the time thought that Stephen was rose quartz, Peridot doesn't seem to understand the severity of the situation, suggesting that she doesn't even know who Rose was or what she did. This speaks volumes regarding Homeworld's ability to influence the beliefs of its people, as well as their ability to suppress information. Peridot has clearly been conditioned to believe anything that her government tells her without proof or question. Additionally, it is also very clear to me that Peridot has been conditioned even further. Peridot believes wholeheartedly in the purpose that she has been told that pearls and quartzes exist for. She considers Amethyst's smaller body compared to a normal quartz to be humorous and derogatory, and until she sees conclusive evidence that Pearl is atypical compared to standard pearls, and even afterwards to a point, she barely even considers Pearl to be a person. Granted, she does seem open to the idea that gems can be more than what Homeworld dictates them to be, but it doesn't seem to come easy to her. More importantly, though, through Peridot we are able to glean a bit about how Homeworld treats wayward gems. All the way back in Warp Tour, we see Peridot crush a damaged flask robinoid after taking only a moment to assess that it is presumably too damaged to continue to function properly as part of a greater unit. She does so harshly, immediately, and without any remorse. This is despite the fact that the damaged robinoid is at least autonomous enough to look to Peridot for help when it's injured. She also still considers the crystal gems to be enemies rather than allies after making her truce with them. She even calls herself defective for working with them. And this is despite the fact that she's working with them out of necessity. It's not like she just made the choice to do it. I genuinely believe that when Yellow Diamond comes to Earth, or otherwise comes into the series, she will not approve of Peridot having agreed to work with the crystal gems, even though she didn't have a choice. Peridot will likely want to, and be expected to, earn the favor and forgiveness of this powerful, higher-class gem. She will return to the side of Homeworld and even work against the crystal gems, either directly or by giving Yellow Diamond information on them. She will just be expected to behave this way. Otherwise, she will be seen as useless to the rest of the unit, i.e. Homeworld, and destroyed, just like the poor little robinoid. After all, when Peridot was freed from her bubble and saw the other bubbled gems in the temple, she assumes that the crystal gems plan to harvest her. We don't know exactly what this means beyond speculation, but from Peridot's reaction it is clearly very undesirable. Is this perhaps what Homeworld does to undesirables? If so, I wouldn't blame Peridot for going back to Yellow Diamond. However, I think the taste of greater freedom and true, meaningful relationships that she experienced while with the crystal gems will win Peridot over in the end. She will betray Stephen, but not forever. And considering the kind of person Stephen is, I imagine he'll forgive her. But guys, what do you think about this theory? Do you see things going in a different direction, or do you think I really hit the mark? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, until next time, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.